Classic Country 100.1 WGLC. Good morning. Joined on the phone by author Martin Sneider. Good morning.
Good morning, Charles.
Now, this is a unique experience for me to talk to you because you are endeavoring on sort of, I guess I want to call it the third stage of your career, if I'm understanding it correctly, because you're an author, but you're not a young author by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
You have changed a career path, and I've read the book. You talk about writing about what you know, and certainly with your life experience, you've put this sort of groundwork of your background into your novel. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about you. First off, where you grew up and where your career took you for the first half of your life.
Okay, happy to do it. I was born in New York during World War II. My mother moved me to Omaha when my dad was in the Pacific fighting. And I grew up in Omaha and then moved to St. Louis. Went to work. I went to school at Washington University, met my wife there from Highland Park, Illinois, in 1962. And went on to school later on, graduate school, avoiding the war in Vietnam as best I could. And then eventually went to work for Edison Brothers stores, which grew to several thousand stores in apparel and footwear, popular price apparel and footwear. So I started off as a stock boy. Can I say that?
I think that's still a term. Yeah,
there's still a term. Okay, I was a stock boy making $1 an hour, and eventually became co-chief executive officer of the company. So I worked my way all the way through the company.
And that's an achievement that, doesn't really happen, obviously, in today's age of people job hopping. It's so rare to have somebody start in at the bottom and get clear to the top.
Yes, I was very fortunate in a number of ways, and I prospered at Edison, and it was a wonderful experience for the most part. And I count myself very lucky. I was at the right place at the right time, which often happens in success stories, but I'm pleased that my career worked that way. Eventually, at the end, I decided I wanted to teach at Washington University. You mentioned 3 careers, and so I went and began teaching, retailing, and I found I really loved it. The students were wonderful. And I also discovered that teaching retailing is a lot easier than actually doing it. And the
hours are more convenient, especially around the holidays. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I got in trouble, Charles, if I can say this on radio.
Yeah.
I got in trouble because I called the person who carries out groceries to your car a bag boy, and some of the students were offended at that. And so I stopped teaching right as COVID started, coincidentally, in 2020. And my golf game had gone to hell, and I needed something to do, and my wife said I needed something to do, which is an even greater stimulus.
Yeah.
So I rented an office and started wailing away on the keyboard, and I said there's a story to be told about retailing in the second half of the 20th century, and it's got to be a family story to make it interesting, because you've got to have conflict, tension in the family, and so that was my idea, and I just pounded away and did it.
And so you wrote a book about a man and a family business and the struggles of taking literally a mom and pop shop into a nationwide chain, and then the struggles of dismantling that operation. Now, there's always that the sort of the adage that, family businesses, the founder makes the business, the next generation makes it thrive, and the third generation ends up squandering it all. And not to give any spoilers in your book, but, some of that stuff kind of rings true.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The entrepreneur is often kind of a loose cannon because they were creative, they came up with the idea, they hold certain things holy from the beginning. But you're right, the second generation, in this case, is Josh, is a good businessman, business person, and he understands how the business has to be rationalized for competition in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and he and his father lock horns, and he thinks he's going to succeed his father, and so much of the book is spent with Josh's ambition to succeed his father and his father's actions to foil that.
Yeah, and it's a lot of family tension and a lot of Midwestern references. I actually gave a out loud chuckle when I got to the Steak and Shake references. Because, again, St. Louis, not that far away, very Midwestern oriented, and I appreciate the feel of the novel, how it takes place in the Midwest, and it talks about family struggles and business, and it's called Shelf Life by Martin Sneider. If someone's interested in getting a copy of your book, where on the planet should they go?
Well, they can go almost anywhere where incredibly well-written books are found. They can go to Barnes & Noble. They can go to Target has it, but also you can go on the Internet at Amazon, where it's a bestseller, and you can go to barnesandnoble.com, but it's available anywhere books are sold. And
with your experience in retail, how is the marketing for the book going so far, in your opinion? Or have you been giving them notes?
I have a superb marketing team that's surrounding me right now in the studio.
So you got
they've done a great job. This is a world with which I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
This kind of book world.
Yeah.
And, so they're showing me the ropes.
How many?
This is a very pleasant way to do this.
How many more books do you have in you think?
Well, I've written 3 more. They're all sequels to book 1, because I follow the Feldman family as they go through the next chapter and the next chapter and the next chapter of their lives. And the 4th book ends in 2020 before COVID started.
I say don't give me spoilers now. Well, when that second one comes out, I look forward to talking to you then. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you, Charles. I've had fun interviewing with you.
Thank you. Martin Sneider, book Shelf Life, out now. It's Classic Country, WGLC.